Talladega SuperSpeedway lives up to its name. Of all the closed-circuit motorsports facilities in the world where sanctioned auto races are held, it is the fastest. Constructed by the France family 10 years after Daytona International Speedway, Talladega was built slightly longer at 2.66 miles, with steeper 33-degree banking which guaranteed record-setting speeds. The pole speed for NASCAR's first race in 1969, a stunning 199.4 miles per hour. Almost 30 miles an hour faster than Indy cars were then lapping at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Rule changes in 1987 meant that Bill Elliott's 212.80 mile per hour lap will likely stand forever as the qualifying record at Talladega and for NASCAR. Talladega is still the fastest track on the schedule. It holds the record for the fastest 500-mile stock car race at 188.35 miles per hour. Mark Martin's winning speed in May of '97 and produces some of the most exciting door-to-door racing every year. Talladega puts on 5 separate events each year as host of the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Craftsman Trucks, and the ARCA Series. But tonight, it's the penultimate race in the Davidson Builders Cup Series, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Talladega SuperSpeedway. Second to last race on the season of the Davidson Builders Cup Series. 80 laps the race distance tonight. 71-degree ambient temperature. Pretty muggy here this afternoon. 93% humidity. Overcast skies. A little breezy as well. 12-mile-per-hour breeze to be exact. Track temperature 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers with a 60% fuel load this evening. 2 sets of tires over the wall. No faster pairs to speak of, but 3, count them, 3 green-white checkered finishes available for the taking if it comes down to it. Taking a look at the fast times here this afternoon so far in practice. Zach Millett, top time, 48.750. Clearly a lap in the draft. Alfie Sharon Jr., second quick, just 1/1000th slower. Skylar Herod, third quick. Lawson, Collins rounding out the top 5. Taking a look at the points coming into tonight. These are the drivers in order of their points tallies as we get into the playoffs further. Nick Biddy coming on strong here late in the season, 51 points. Then it's Dylan Bryan, Matt Sisler, Zach Millett, Derek Welch, Mark Collins, Chris Goins, Anthony Williams, Alfie Sharon Jr., Jesse Redding, Paul Durkee, Albert Anderson, Brandon Coleman, Sean Roberts, and Connor Leach. That's the 15 drivers still eligible. We're going to narrow that down for next week and then crown a champion. Again, the schedule remaining. Of course, Talladega here tonight, and we'll finish things off at Homestead Miami Speedway next week. Not tonight. You see the date there is the 5th. Well, that's today, folks. It's really next Tuesday, so stay with us for that. Practice in the books comes to an end. We're going to get into qualifying right away here. Who takes to the track first? It looks like it might be Crystal Villano. Indeed it is. Crystal rolling out of pit lane to start her qualifying attempt. The 07 all the way to the top of the racetrack, trying to use as much racetrack as possible on this outlap to build speed. May even do more of the same here on the first timed lap. We'll have to see. Way up the racetrack as she crosses the stripe. And yeah, she's going to keep it up the racetrack here. You don't want to get too close to the wall because you can actually create some drag if you get up too close. Best bet we've seen really is to almost straddle that top dotted white line there at the top of the racetrack, separating the lanes. She'll see as she completes this lap. She'll come back down the bottom of the racetrack, shorten up the lap while maintaining all that momentum. Milano through the tri-oval here. This is going to be a slower lap than just running the high side. You see she drops it down to the bottom. 53.465 for the first lap. Meanwhile, Redding goes 52.708. Stick with the 21 for his second lap. See if he picks up, which I imagine he will. Redding keeps it on the banking in the tri-oval, doesn't drop it down on the flat, crosses the stripe. Lap 2 in the books. Does he improve? No, actually slower. 52.801 for Jesse Redding. Certainly not what he expected. Joe David in the 6. First lap for David, 52.894, puts him P6 on the board for the time being. Jesse Redding still on provisional pole. Eric Beadle jumps up to third quick, 52.734. Brandon Coleman outside pole for now at a 7.13. David into the tri-oval, again keeping it up on the banking. Across the line, finishes up, moves up a spot, 52.816. Not a huge pickup, but there was some pickup. Albert Anderson's first lap, 10th quick, 53.137. Definitely a throwaway lap. See if the 99 can pick up the pace here on lap number 2. I expect him to do so, and if not, he's going to be tough to guard in the race here today. Redding still the provisional pole sitter. Got Zach Mitchell in the chat. Says, I keep forgetting how good the Gen 6 cars look. Also hope everyone's night is well. Zachary, you as well. Thanks for checking in, saying hello. I do love me some Gen 6. Anderson now drops it down to the flat of the racetrack in the tri-oval. Haven't seen anybody try that just yet. Does shorten things up if you can keep up the speed. Anderson across the line. Second lap, third quick, 52.728. Big pickup for Anderson. Now Derek Welch in the 1. Derek down the backstretch on his first timed event. First timed lap, that is. Welch across the stripe. First lap for the 1, 11th quick, 53.306. Matt Sisler halfway down the back straightaway, lap 1 for the 93. Zach Millett on the clock, Alfie Charon about to be on the clock. Sean Roberts on the clock. 10-minute qualifying session, 2 laps. First lap for Sisler, 53.028. Zach Millett about to finish up lap 1. He drops it down to the flat in the tri-oval. Meanwhile, Connor Leach goes to the point, 52.696 for the number 71. Millett goes to the pole on lap 1, 52.651. Calls it one and done. Shuts the motor off, gets a plug check out of the way while we're at it. Alfie Sharon Jr. on the track. So Redding's knocked off the pole by Connor Leach, and then Zach Millett just a moment later. So front row right now, it's the 315 and the 71. Alfie Sharon Jr. through the tri-oval. 2 minutes left in the session. Sharon across the stripe, 19th, 53.243. Throwaway first lap. Sharon through the tri-oval. He keeps it on the banking while teammates went down to the flat. Across the line. Where does the 9 land? 14th, 52.810 for Alfie Sharon Jr. Mark Collins in the number 23. Collins out of Castlewood, Virginia. Collins was trying to get to the flat of the racetrack, but he kind of straddled that yellow line. Definitely heard the engine RPMs fall off a bit there when that happened, but Collins still throwing in a decent first lap. He's going to call it one and done, 52.751 for the number 23 machine. Collins will sit in the 9th position. Looks like that's going to be all for now. We've got a handful of drivers that haven't taken a lap. Chris Goins, Lawson, McKinnon, Durkee, Sperling, and Klein. They opt to start from the rear by order of I-rating. So qualifying officially done here as the clock hits the 10-minute mark. It's all said and done. The field begins to grid up. With that, let's get to it. Let's take a look at our starting grid for tonight's race. On the pole position from Track Bar Motorsports with a lap time of 52.651 seconds. It's the 315 of Zach Millett. Outside, front row from Sisk Speed Shop. Missed it by 45 thousandths. It's the 71 from Canada, Connor Leach. Row number 2, another Track Bar Motorsports entry. It's Jesse Redding in the number 21, flanked by the 11 of Brandon Coleman. Row number 3, Albert Anderson III in the number 99 All-Star Racing Machine to his outside. Probably best start for Beetle this year. It's the 119 of Eric Beetle. Row 4, Derek Welch and Anthony Williams. Row 5, it'll be Mark Collins and Tom Barish. Starting 11th goes to the 28 machine of Dylan Bryant. Nick Biddy, the 32 Lowline Motorsports entry, will start from the 12th position. 13th starter at Skylar Harrod in the 3. Scott Milner in the 31 will start 14th. Alfie Sharon Jr. in the 9 starts 15th. On his outside, it's his better half, the 07 of Crystal Villano. She'll start 16th. Joe David in the 6 starts 17th. Sean Roberts 18th. 19th, Matt Sisler. Russ Endicott 20th. 21st starter is Chris Goins. Chris Klein 22nd. Jesse Sperling 23rd. Justin Lawson 24th. 25th goes to Paul Durkee. And last but not least, the 12 of Ben McKinnon will roll off from the 26th starting position. It's your starting grid from Talladega SuperSpeedway. Feel just about gridded up and ready to go here. Derek Welch still needing to grid up, the only driver left. And pace car leaves start finish. We'll have one pace lap. Will be green flag racing the next time by. Taking yet another look at the race details tonight. 80 laps the race distance. 71 degree ambient temperature. 92% humidity. Overcast skies. 12 mile per hour breeze. Track temperatures cooling off a bit more. 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers have a 60% fuel load. Gives them 19 to 24 laps under green flag conditions. 2 sets of tires over the wall, no fast repairs. 3 green-white checkered attempts, if needed. Zach Mitchell back in the stream chat. 80 laps of fun. Well, that remains to be seen. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Depends on where in the field you end up when it's all said and done, but we will see. It's going to be exciting at a minimum. Field working out of turn number 4. Pace car about to make the hard left down pit lane. Stragglers at the back of the pack. We usually like to see a tighter formation. See if they get tightened back up before we go green. But out front, it'll be Zach Millett and Connor Leach on the front row. Take them to the green flag. Again, keep in mind, Talladega here, start-finish, not in the middle of the tri-oval like we see at Daytona. It's further past, right near pit exit. So they got a little ways to go before they take that green flag. There it is, green flag called for, and we are underway from Talladega SuperSpeedway. Rather hazy day here in Talladega. Field working the back straightaway. Millett, lead car to the inside. Connor Leach leading the second lane. Jesse Redding giving the 315 a push through 3 and 4. Lap 1 in the book. Zach Millett leads it. Redding runs second. Albert Anderson up to the third spot. He's gained a couple already, but Mark Collins on the biggest tear. The number 23 machine up 4 spots into the top 5 already. Collins trying to lead that outside line. Connor Leach in behind. Scattering their mid-pack. Ross Endicott, abrupt lane change in front of Chris Klein. Collins now top of the racetrack as Beetle fills the gap. He runs in behind the 71 of Leach. Collins might just be dropping to the tail here, going to take care of the race car. Millett still with the race lead. We watch this battle on the outside line. Connor Leach leads that lane. Beetle runs second in that line. Then Alfie Charon Jr. tucked in behind the 119. 28 machine of Dylan Bryant in some new colors this week. The Target colors on board that Chevrolet. Beetle slips up the racetrack just a bit, gets some fresh air into the air intake of that number 119 Toyota Camry. Skylar Harrod switching lanes, slops up the racetrack into the high line in front of teammate Connor Leach. Leach inclined to push the 3 here. We'll see if they can gain some ground on the top spots. Oh, Connor Leach out of shape on the backstretch. So is Beetle, but they straighten it back up. I think that might have been a case of pushing the pusher times 4. Get away with it cleanly. We almost got the under there at lap 4. Getting a quick second look at that incident on the backstretch. It looked like Leach got out of shape. Bit of a checkup from the 119, and then the 9 gets into the back of Beetle. And everybody gets away cleanly without major incident. Things have settled down here at the front. Sun trying to peek out from behind the overcast skies here at Talladega, but further back, we've got a battle. We're 3 wide. Chris Goins was leading the charge. Here comes the 33 of Sean Roberts in behind the 41. Sean Roberts with some fresh colors on board. It is election day after all. Giant meteor for 24. Roberts into the back of the 41 Blue Chew machine of Chris Goins, giving him a big time push down into turn number 1. And we got Lori Vaught in the chat. Hey Steve, let's go Albert, DW, and Dylan. Lori, thanks for checking in. Millett continues to lead the pack into the tri-oval again here. We'll start lap 7 in just a moment. Moving to the outside as Millett loses the race lead. Albert Anderson jumps up to the point. Harrod on the back bumper. Connor Leach there to help the 3 as well. Millett steps out of line, moves up the racetrack in front of it. Looks like the 119 of Eric Beetle. Beetle running in the 5th spot. Going to push the 315. Chris Klein in behind Beetle. Sisler swapping lanes. He jumps to the bottom of the racetrack. And once again, Beetle goes topside. I don't know if he's just trying to get fresh air on the nose or if he doesn't like what he's seeing. He's going to check out here, go to the back, and try to save the race car for further down the line. Millett dropped back down into the inside lane in the 4th position, in behind Connor Leach. Top 5 is Anderson, Harrod, Leach, Millett, Redding. Millett just trying to find a lane that wants to move. Switches topside in front of teammate Chris Goins. In behind Goins is Sean Roberts, and it looks like Alfie Charon Jr. as well. Matt Sisler going to reel into the back of that group as well. Albert Anderson back into the tri-oval, going to cross start finish in the country time. Lemonade number 99 continues to lead. Skylar Harrod, Connor Leach, DW, the 4 cars on the bottom. Outside it's Redding, Millett, and Goins. Millett pushing Redding with all he's got. A little early for that. Almost got the 21 car going the wrong direction for a moment. Still pushing the 21 down the back straightaway. We saw this in practice. These two able to tandem quite well. Going to give Redding an advantage into turn 3, but just by a nose. We'll see if Millett can continue to push through 3 and 4 without wrecking Redding. lap 10, Zach Millett has taken the top spot back from Albert Anderson. Anderson running right to the back bumper of the 315 as they work the back straightaway. Redding still in the outside lane. Chris Goins pushing. Sean Roberts a half car length off the back bumper of the 41. Starting to get some distinguished packs here. Obviously, you got our main pack up in front. Drivers all relatively close together, but further back, we've got a smaller group in behind. They're relatively spread out. That group led by the 93 and Matt Sisler. Then you got Scott Milner. Looks like Justin Lawson, or that's Brandon Coleman for that matter. Then Paul Durkee, then Justin Lawson. Got the Goats plus some others there in the back of the pack just trying to ride, take care of the race car, make sure they're around for the end of this. Again, no fast repair in this series, so if they wad these things up early in the race, they're not going to be around for the finish. Now Coleman has jumped out as the lead dog in this pack. Really, these guys just need to get lined out in single file and ride for a little while. I know we're coming up on some green flag stops here in a little bit. It'll be about lap 19 to 24, depending on how aggressively these drivers are saving fuel. Things have changed yet again out in front. Jesse Redding now with the race lead. Goins the lead car on the outside. Millett back to third. Things unchanged here at the front. Still Redding, Goins, the front runners. Then Millett, Roberts, Anderson, and Klein. That's your top six in the frame. Then Skylar Harrod, Nick Biddy into the picture. Connor Leach, Joe David as well. Derek Welch at the back of the 71. That's right on board with Zach Millett. Millett pushing the 21 of Redding way out in front here. They're starting to get some separation on the rest of the field. A little too much. 2 or 3 car lengths back to third, fourth place. A little bit too much. They're going to draft back up and catch these top two. The outside line starting to form. We're 3 wide behind the fourth and fifth place machines. Sean Roberts, the meat and the sandwich there. Eric Beadle to the outside. So is Alfie Charon Jr. Close quarters battle here as they work off turn number 2. I just can't imagine they're going to run this whole race like this. They're pushing hard and they're pushing early. Still 5 laps shy of quarter distance here at Talladega SuperSpeedway. Watch the 41 and the 9. Charon Jr. pushing Goins significantly. Skylar Harrod working to the outside of Albert Anderson with help from Connor Leach. Harrod's going to try and take that third spot. Anderson needing some drafting help. Here comes Derek Welch to push the 99, or is he? He's there, but not much of an assist, at least yet. Welch not willing to be super aggressive this early, and I can't say that I blame him. Right on board now with Eric Beadle. Beadle running in the third spot technically right now as the change for the lead happens here. Charon takes it over. Jones now second. He's going to lose second. Beadle now to the second spot. Big time run. Lifts a little bit. Jones tucks up underneath the 9. Jesse Redding, Zach Millett, teammates 1, 2, 3, 4 on the inside line. Eric Beadle, another teammate to the outside, leads the second lane. Beadle with a run down into turn number 1. Off the nose at Dylan Bryant. Bryant pushing the 119. Gave him a bit of a bump, bit of a push. John Roberts there in line as well. That's going to help that draft be just that much quicker, but they could use some more help, and here it comes. Jesse Sperling calling internet issues here in the chat. He's out of this one, listed as 26, but out of the race. Had to call it a night, unfortunately. So he'll be back next week for the finale. Now back into the tri-oval. Eric Beadle with the race lead. Will he carry it to start finish? The 119 will do so. He'll lead lap 19. Bryant pushing Eric Beadle, Sean Roberts, the trio there topside. They did a pretty good job working just the three of them together to get around this larger line of cars on the bottom of the racetrack. Typically, that's harder to do when you don't have the numbers, but they got it done enough to get Beadle out in front to lead that lap. Back to the inside now. Alfie Charon Jr. is going to nose out back to front. Chris Goins pushing the 9 out ahead of Eric Beadle for the time being. And lap 19 here, we're going to be getting to that window where we should start to see some drivers think about making their first round of green flag stops. This is where it's going to get interesting. Obviously, the difficult part here is going to be to get off the racetrack under green flag conditions, get her woed down fast enough. Don't want to lock up the tires. You don't want to flat spot them because we're running this under green, and these guys probably aren't planning on changing tires. The other problem is Beadle trying to get back down to the bottom of the racetrack, knowing he's going to need to pit soon. Crystal Villano pulls down the racetrack. She hits pit lane here. I don't know if that was just a matter to get out of the way of the leaders or she's making her pit stop now. The 07 was in danger of going down a lap as it was. Might as well come down, get the fuel that we need. And here we come, off turn number 4. Pit stop's underway, but looks like, no, Charon thought about, no, he was going to stay out, but I think he changed his mind last minute. Some guy's trying to get woed up. Chris Goins, I don't know if he got slowed down in time. Everybody was on the binders trying to get down to pit road speed in time. Bit of a land rush here on pit road. Lap 22, we come to pit lane. Charon did stay out, but he really locked up the brakes. He's going to lose a ton of track position in this because he slowed down considerably. He's going to have to pit the next time by as it is, so tough break for the 9. Hopefully he doesn't run out of fuel. Looks like Milner may have stayed out as well. Chris Goins finishing up his stop with some momentum at the exit of pit lane. He gets by Millett and Connor Leach. Millett trying to tuck back in behind the 71, trying to draft already. We're not even back up to full speed yet. Check on Sharon Jr. here. He may have run out of fuel. Very slow off turn number 4. In fact, we'll go on board. Yeah, he's coasting. Wasn't able to get a row down in time, and he's going to have to come to pit lane on, well, momentum, nothing more. We got Lisa in the chat, says all of, what's it, Chesney, South Carolina having internet issues. Tough break, Jesse. Sharon in the box. Does he make it in time? Looks like Milner may have run out too. He's very slow coming in. Sharon drops the jack and heads back out, but he's going to be relatively by himself. Scott Milner may be the same way. Meanwhile, things have cycled back through. Chris Goins with that great pit exit. He takes over the top spot. Connor Leach in the second position. Then Millett, Bryant, and Redding the top 5. Chris Klein rounding out that draft. I stand corrected. Chris Klein, Nick Biddy, and Derek Welch rounding out that group of cars. Skylar Harrod and Joe David running together 9th and 10th, but they're by their lonesome. They really need to work on a tandem strategy here. They're going to gain any ground on that lead pack. Albert Anderson back in the 11th position. Well, he's appearing, yeah, he's by himself. He's in trouble until this group catches up. Looks like Tom Barish in a familiar number 55. We've seen that car before. Barish not going to jump to the back of the 99. They're going to go on by. Anderson's going to need to pick up the draft from the back. Albert Anderson now running 16th, lost a handful of positions as that field of cars went on by. He's just about to the point where he could lose the draft, and we got somebody out of shape. Paul Durkee trying to save it. Now that was the 20 of Lawson. Looks like Durkee was pushing the 20 out of turn number 2, got him crossed up. Durkee went way down into that freshly paved runoff. Drives it back onto the track, and the goats get back together. Begin to draft again. Anderson starting to catch up now, picking up the draft off the 07 of Crystal Volano. Back out front, Chris Goins leads, Connor Leach, Zach Millett, Dylan Bryant, Jesse Redding. Drivers really starting to settle in now that we've become a single file race. Basically a run now to the next set of pit stops. While we have the opportunity, let's go through the field if we can. This usually triggers a caution, but we'll give it a shot. Chris Goins, your race leader, started way back in the back of the pack here. Didn't even take a lap in qualifying. Drafted his way up through a solid round of pit stops under the green flag. Takes the lead over. Doing a good job. Runs well here on these super speedways. Connor Leach, the 71. Started outside pole, currently running in that second spot. Zach Millett, of course, our pole sitter. Zach spent some time out in the front, still running within the top 3. A solid run thus far from the 315. Dylan Bryant out of Stem, North Carolina. Bryant started back in the 11th spot, running in 4th. New colors, almost didn't recognize him here tonight. Jesse Redding down 2, but still within the top 5 and having a solid run. Chris Klein yet again. Started 22nd, up to the 6th spot. Nick Biddy runs in the 7th position. He is up 5. Derek Welch in 8th, down from 7th. Tom Barish back in his familiar number 55, the Gulf Coast Sand Machine. Barish running 9th. Anthony Williams right to the back bumper in 10th in the number 5. The Butler Brothers Sand and Gravel entry. And Mark Collins. Dumb Thumbs Gaming number 23, down a couple spots, but it's just outside the top 10. Plenty of race to go. Sean Roberts started 18th. Again, Giant Meteor for 24 just ended already. Sure, there's a bunch of us that feel that way. Roberts running 12th. Matt Sisler back in the 13th position in the 3 birdies, number 93. Big push from Skylar Harrod, though. Almost got the 93 crossed up. Skylar checks up to avoid that. Harrod running 14th. Joe David just behind in P15. Humidity really going up here at Talladega. Starting to get some low cloud cover here. Almost seems like fog rolling in. Albert Anderson, he's down 11 spots, but don't let that fool you. He's got plenty of opportunity left before this one's out to make a charge as he goes around the 57 of Russ Endicott. Anderson running 16th. Justin Lawson back in the 17th position in the rigid number 20. Paul Durkee just behind teammates, running 18th. Ben McKinnon, also one of the GOATs, running in the 19th position. Further back, 20th, Alfie Charon Jr., still shown on the lead lap. I don't know how he pulled that off, but somehow managed to do it. Not out of this one yet. Eric Beadle running in the 21st position. Led some laps here tonight already. Was up near the front. Through the pit stops, back behind teammate Alfie Charon Jr. in 21st. Scott Milner also having an issue, missing pit lane, running out of fuel, but manages to stay on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap, it's the 11 of Brandon Coleman, another one of the GOATS drivers out there today. And first car one lap down, it's the 07 of Crystal Volano, running in the 24th position. .31 laps in the books. Chris Goins continues to lead. That's Connor Leach, Zach Millett, Dylan Bryant, and Jesse Redding. Those things have not changed a bit, really, since we've gone through the field. .32 laps complete here from Talladega SuperSpeedway. We're going to step aside here briefly, get a quick break out of the way. We're going to go HBR TV side by side, though, so you won't miss a minute of the action. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Talladega SuperSpeedway, 36 laps in the books. Chris Goins leads, then it's Leach, Millett, Bryant, Redding. Still not much changed out front. Chris Klein running there in the 6th position. Nick Biddy, Derek Welch, the top 8. Some hazy sunshine starting to come through the clouds here at Talladega. Not a lot, nothing really to affect the track temperature all that much. 8-car draft and running single file, just making lap time here. Kind of what we expected to see after that first round of green flag stops. Drivers are going to be a little more cautious, a little more passive in their moves, just trying to make it at least at minimum to halfway, trying to get to that next round of green flag stops. You see, they've gained a ton of ground in between themselves and 9th place Sean Roberts. They're just getting out of turn number 2 right now as the leaders are in 3 and 4. Really, this second group of cars, led by the 33 of Sean Roberts, if they got real tightened up here, single file, bumper to bumper, all the way to the back of the pack, they could draft up. They could catch that lead pack. They're just a little tighter there at the front of the field, so they're turning lap times a bit quicker. Sean Roberts' last lap, a 49.25. Ironically enough, though, Chris Goins in the race lead ran a 49.40, so actually a bit slower, at least that time by. Roberts again slightly faster by a little over a tenth in the race leader, a 49.28 the last time versus Goins running a 40 again. Starting to get 3 distinct packs here. We got 3 of the goats together. They're just getting out of turn number 2. Again, the leaders were getting into 3 and 4 when that second pack was getting out of turn 2. It's kind of the opposite here. These guys are midway through the back straightaway. That second pack with Sean Roberts likely getting to the start-finish line right now. And then our 4th small group here, 3 cars, 4 cars, led by Alfie Charon Jr. You got Eric Beadle on the back bumper of the 9, then Scott Milner, and then the 11 of Brandon Coleman. They are very well separated. They've got to get tightened up. They've got to work together quite well here if they're going to have a shot. Back out front, race leaders again, out of turn number 4. First round of pit stop for about lap 21, lap 22. We'll see another round of green flag stops here in the next couple of laps. And we've got Jack Dixon in the stream chat cheering on Albert Anderson. Says, kick ass, Albert. Bring it home for All-Star. Jack, thanks for checking in. Appreciate that. Looks like Dylan Bryant was going to step out to pit there. Decided against it. Stays tucked in behind Zach Millett. Chris Goins has really been out in front of this group since they finished that green flag pit stop previously. But curious to see how far that 41 is going to be able to stretch the fuel, being that he's been the lead car in this pack. Could see the field pull down pit lane this time, maybe one more, maybe 2 more if we really want to stretch things out. And here we go. Pit stops underway yet again. Everybody going to pull down off turn number 4. Klein and Welch included, locking them up. They get slowed down. They do. Dylan Bryant almost gets into Chris Goins, locks him up for sure. Might have flat spotted those tires. Goins trying to get to the pit stall, but Connor Leach is right there. Leach dives out of the way to allow the 41 to get to his stall. Klein has to back up just a bit. Well, Connor Leach into his pit box. Leach is going to take tires here. Billet fuel only. He's down and away. Leach gets out, but I don't know if he's going to have enough. He's going to have to hustle hard through turns 1 and 2 here to catch these guys and be in this draft. If he doesn't get some dancing partners here, Connor Leach could be in trouble. Meanwhile, more pit stops underway or just finishing up. Albert Anderson, Sean Roberts leaving pit lane together. Mark Collins did stay out on the racetrack. I think he picked up a lap lead. He's going to come down and pit this time. Back out front, though, it's Chris Goins. Goins, Millet, Bryant, and Nick Biddy now your top 4. Chris Klein running back in 5th. Klein drafting with Jesse Redding and Derek Welch. Remember Connor Leach? Lost the draft. And I think a lot of that was just tire strategy. Leach took tires, everybody else went fuel only. I'm very surprised to see Leach take those tires. I don't know if that was an audible with the contact or just an oops, we had them checked and we didn't mean to, but everybody else went fuel only. The track temperature being as low as it is and the cloud cover being what it is, I don't know if you're even going to need to change tires at all during this race. Leach dropping it down to the apron of the racetrack, just trying to shorten up the lap for a little bit of lap time, maybe a little bit of fuel savings. He's going to have to work some sort of strategy to pull this one off, but honestly, the way the Sisk Speed Shop has been on point with strategy this season, I wouldn't necessarily count him out. Meanwhile, Chris Goins dropping rapidly. He was in the race lead a moment ago, but now he's back in 10th and off the pace. Goins severely down on power right now. Not sure the situation with the 41, but Skylar Harrod's going to pick up the 41 here. Things definitely different out in front. Nick Biddy, Zach Millet, Chris Klein, Dylan Bryant, Jesse Redding, the new top 5. Goins coming back up to speed. Really not sure what happened. See if we can find what happened here just a moment ago. Goins have to do a pit stop. Goins may have gotten some sort of a penalty here as he drives it into pit lane. I do not think he came to a stop, so I don't know. That's all it was. Drive-through penalty, it seems, for the 41 of Chris Goins. Impressive. He's maintained a position in the top 10, and he's lucky enough at least to have the 3 of Skylar Harrod to draft with. This is kind of a symbiotic relationship with these two right now. They're both benefiting from this. Further in behind, the group of Matt Sisler, Anthony Williams, and Joe David. If they get organized here, they can catch that duo ahead of them, making a 5-car draft. They could really work together at that point. Race lead battle. Chris Klein, Nick Biddy side by side. Klein to the outside of the red, white, and blue Camry. Redding now switching lanes, goes to the bottom of the racetrack with a big-time run, looking for the race lead as well. "48 laps in the books of 80 here at Talladega SuperSpeedway. These drivers have done a great job to this point. Knocking on wood here. Not a single yellow flag to speak of. Klein trying to work the middle of the racetrack. He's not careful. He's going to get funneled down the middle. Klein goes back up in front of the one of Derek Welch. Smart move for the 51. Welch gives the 51 a push into turns 1 and 2. There's Eric Beadle. There's Alfie Charon Jr. and the 11 of Brandon Coleman. However, Brandon Coleman in that number 11, though he is at the back of this draft, he is not on the lead lap. Neither is Eric Beadle. Beadle in the 119 there, third in line, top side. Beadle being the first car, 1 lap down. If we were to get the caution, he'd be the lucky dog. Welch pushing Chris Klein there to the right rear. That was a dangerous move. Could have easily hooked the 51 up the racetrack. They get away with it this time. Off turn number 4 again. Redding with the lead to the inside. Welch trying to push Klein around. Bottom side just too strong, at least for the time being. The high line trying to get organized, just not paying off yet. Beadle out of line. Alfie Charon switches it up, tucks back in behind the 315 in the bottom. Now Redding and Klein still side by side for the top spot. Go on board here with Jesse Redding. Battles for the race lead. Redding doing a great job out front. Biddy out of shape down to the bottom of the racetrack. Zach Millett also steps up. Once again, a great save by at least 2 drivers here in the trioval at Talladega. They jump back in line. I don't think they missed a step. That jostling of drafting drivers in behind the 21 slowed the pace of Redding. Now gives the race lead to Chris Klein, and the fog beginning to set in. Visibility could become an issue here at Talladega SuperSpeedway. Top 2 now, Chris Klein, Derek Welch. Third place now, Jesse Redding. Eric Beadle still to the outside, though not on the lead lap. Oh, there it is, trouble. Eric Beadle Up the racetrack in the fence, first caution of the evening. Yellow on the racetrack for the first time this afternoon. Eric Beadle resting at the bottom of the racetrack. Let's get a look at it. Was already involved here. Let's rewind this a little further. Watch the 119, the purple and white machine topside in front of the number 31 Army car. Can't tell if Millett came up or if the 119 came down. Beadle gets into Biddy a bit. Biddy is able to save the car, it looks like. Biddy comes down and collects Zach Millett just a bit. There's going to be some damage on both of those cars that will need addressing. We were approaching our second round of pit stops, so I'd expect everybody to come on down. Trying to get a better angle on this. Yeah, it does look like Millett was up a bit. Beadle came down a bit. Also a tiny bit of net code there as well. Some space in between those two cars before one started to come around. Dylan Bryant's going to get tangled up in this. Coleman just barely sneaking by, at least that initial impact. Looks like he's going to get through it. So there it is. Caution on the speedway. Pace behind the iRacing pace car, and I think everyone's going to come down and pit here. Klein, Welch, Redding, Millett, Biddy, still the top five. Nick Biddy in his pit stall again, likely to have a little bit of damage to be repaired. Right side tire change for the 32. Millett also the same. Right side tires going on. Crew around to the left. Sunoco race fuel going in. Does Millett just head back out, or does he save it and repair it? He's going to fix it. Nick Biddy took off. He's down and away. And Millett heads out. So, through the pit cycle, under yellow, Derek Welch is going to be out first. He'll take over the top spot. Then Albert Anderson, Connor Leach, Sean Roberts, Skylar Herod, the top five. I want to try and go back here and watch this incident again. I want to back it up, see if we can get a view from the roof cam of the 315 machine. Now we're on board with Zach Millett. This is down into turn number one. You see Biddy there just ahead. Eric Beadle to the outside. Yeah, Beadle's coming down. Now, I don't know if that was contact initiated or not, but nevertheless, does get into the 315, upsets the 119. Just the perfect contact for Beadle to start going around. Beadle corrects, goes up the racetrack, collects Dylan Bryant. And then Millett goes around as well. Yeah, so Millett shortened up that race car in the right front and the right rear, so that would explain the additional damage repair that he had to make. Looks like Millett's back on pit lane as well as some others. Redding, Collins, Gone, Sisler, Barish. They're trying to top off fuel for most of these guys because they're right at the edge of that fuel window. 22 laps seems to be about the maximum. It's going to be a close one. If these guys have the opportunity to come down and pit again, but no, it looks like we're on the one to go, so that's not going to pan out. Albert Anderson will be the new leader here. Or will he? No, looks like Welch will still be the top dog. Anderson will restart outside front row. Row 2, Connor Leach, Sean Roberts. In row 3, it'll be Skylar Herod and Chris Klein. Nick Biddy, and looks like Anthony Williams in the 4th row. See Millet down bottom of the racetrack as well as Matt Sisler, trying to shorten up the lap the best that he can before we come back to green. Or does he pit here? I can't imagine he's going to pit. We're going green. Now he's back up on the racetrack. First restart of the afternoon. Field in the restart zone. Green flag waves. We're back underway. Anderson with the edge into turn number 1. Welch to the bottom of the racetrack. He takes it back just by a foot or two. Push from the 71 of Connor Leach. Gives Derek Welch the advantage off turn number 2. Anderson gets clear of Derek Welch in turn 3. Move the 99 to the point yet again. We got Lori Vaught in the chat again. Get it, DW and Albert. The 99 and the 1, the far extremes of the number line. Brings that line to start-finish. Anderson officially back to the race lead. Welch runs second. Battle for third between Connor Leach and Sean Roberts. .22 laps to go here from Talladega SuperSpeedway. Albert Anderson leads. Sean Roberts working the outside line. Meanwhile, the third line coming into play here. Chris Goins going to lead it off the nose of Zach Millet. Millet not giving up, not out of this one yet. Third line has formed. And they're making their way to the front. Millet to fourth. Goins to second. Goins to the race lead. Now that is a tandem draft if I've ever seen one. Lawson with a big-time run into turn number 1, but can he make it work? No, he loses that draft quickly as Goins and Millet drop it back down to the racetrack on the low side. They abandon the 20. Top 5 now: Goins, Millet, Anderson, Welch, and Leach with 21 laps to go. The bigger question is, can they make it to the end on fuel? We saw early in this race, the first round of pit stops. It was about lap 21. Alfie Sharon Jr. and Scott Milner missing pit lane. Both drivers ran out of fuel. That was 21 laps. Granted, we did have an out lap under caution. We had some caution laps for this one as well, so this is going to be a real good representation. We went back to the green with about 23 to go. That leaves them about 2 laps short. Can these guys all save enough to make it to the end, or are we going to have to rely on a late race caution or maybe a late race green flag stop for a quick splash and go to finish this one off? Goins and Millett not the only drivers that can tandem, as you see Lawson and Durkee got it done to the outside as well. Chris Klein's going to jump out of line, crosses down in front of Chris Goins, takes the spot away, looking for the race lead as they cross the stripe with 18 laps to go. Chris Klein running in third. The Goats 1 and 2 on the outside. Lawson switching lanes, abandons teammate Paul Durkee. Durkee should be okay, though. He's got Alfie Charon Jr. and then the 12. Another teammate in Ben McKinnon rolling into the frame as well. Matt Sisler, the number 93, rolling into the picture also in the 8th spot. McKinnon took a peek up top, or maybe just lost his sight line for a moment as he jumped up the third lane for a minute. Now back in behind the 9 of Alfie Charon Jr. Top 2 still Durkee and Lawson. McKinnon now jumps out of line. He's going to get back in behind his teammates. So the Goats 1, 2, 3 on the inside. Chris Klein, the 4th car in line to the bottom. Then it's Chris Goins, Zach Millett. Outside, we got Charon Jr. Matt Sisler was there, but he drops down in front of Chris Goins. Now it's Anthony Williams, Jesse Redding, Joe David, Mark Collins. The top 4 on the outside. Now Chris Klein switches up again, changing lanes. This guy's known to do that on these super speedways. You don't like where he's at, he ain't going to stick there long. It's like the weather in upstate New York. Just wait a minute, it'll change. Charon Jr. switches, abandons the 51, goes with his teammate Chris Goins. Now it's going to hang Chris Klein out. He's going to drop like a rock through the middle of the pack. Klein was battling for the race lead. Now he's in 14th and going to lose some more. Back out front, it's the Goats 1 through 3. Durkee, Lawson, McKinnon. Then it's Matt Sisler and Zach Millett, the top 5. Business has picked up here in Alabama. Chris Goins and Charon Jr. working down the high line, trying to get around, take that lead back. Goins with a nose out in front. 15 laps to go. Charon still pushing. Then it's Anthony Williams and Jesse Redding. Redding would love nothing more than to clear out that 5 and get a 1, 2, 3 Track Bar Motorsports all in a row on the outside, but it's not to be just yet. Goins and Charon tandem drafting as well now down the back straightaway. You see the speed increase with those 2 cars as they divide the wind resistance between the 2 of them. Charon jumps up to the high line, though, doesn't want to hit the brakes, so he's going to get out of line. Drops it back down to the bottom in front of Anthony Williams. "14 laps remain here at Talladega SuperSpeedway. Paul Durkee now edging back in front around Chris Goins with help from the 20 of Lawson and Ben McKinnon. 3 teammates versus 2 as they work down the straightaway yet again. Goats getting it done. And Jesse Redding drops down in front of his teammates, so now we've got 3 versus 3 here at the front of the field. Can the Track Bar Motorsports drivers work together and make this one work? Goins pushing his teammate and friend Jesse Redding here through the tri-oval, but the top 3 starting to get away. Durkee, Lawson, McKinnon starting to check out. Ben McKinnon losing the draft from those 2 for a moment. Now he's going to pull back up. And here we go. 6 drivers at the front of the field. 3 on 3. We got a lap car just up ahead that may come into play here. Appears to be the 11. That is another GOATS driver. That's Brandon Coleman. He may end up becoming a drafting partner, but they may go by him too fast for them to be a factor. Nope. The 11's going to lose it. Not enough to get working with his teammates. It was a valiant thought, but just didn't pay off. He's going to tuck back in. He's still got an opportunity to work his way up there, though. He's only got a couple of cars between himself, the 12, the 20, and the 13. He could be up there and become a fourth in that trio at the front of the field. Another lap car just ahead. That's the 31 of Scott Milner. Will he go top? Will he go bottom? Milner stays in the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to make it tight for the leaders. Sharon Jr. losing the draft just a little bit, but he'll catch right back up here on the exit at turn number 2. Top 6 is Durkee, Lawson, Redding, McKinnon, Gones, and Sharon in various orders. It changes every half second. Mark Collins switches lanes, blocks the run from Zach Millett. Millett was going to try and join this trio up front and make it a 4-teammate battle here against the GOATS to the outside. Collins spoils that as he sees an opening, takes advantage, tucks in behind Alfie Sharon Jr. 10 laps to go from Talladega. It's Redding and Durkee and back and forth, back and forth. At the stripe, Durkee leads it again. 9 laps remain. We'll jump on board with Paul Durkee as we look out the back bumper of the 13 as he leads this field. Bump from the teammate. Gonna send the 13 a little further out in front. Top 2, top 3 could be clear of the 21, and they are. They drop down to the low side, but here comes Connor Leach on the outside, taking a look around the 12, that is, of Ben McKinnon. Connor Leach with drafting assistance from the 3 of Skylar Harrod. We'll see if he can make something happen here with 8 laps to go. Talked about the 11 of Brandon Coleman being back in the mix. He's not on the lead lap, but he's there, and if he catches his teammates, he can get in the mix too. 7.5 to go as the field works the back straightaway. Durkee still leads, and it's Lawson, McKinnon, Leach, Harrod. Durkee and Lawson way too far out in front. You got to watch this. They may draft up on them. They're going to have a lot of momentum when they get there. Too much jockeying for position in behind. It wasn't as dramatic as we expected, but Leach is there and coming fast. In the 3rd spot now, tucked in behind the 20 of Lawson. Teammate Skylar Harrod right there. The 12 of Ben McKinnon searching for a path around the 3. Nothing doing just yet, but here's the 11 of Coleman. Don't forget, folks, we've got 6 laps to go just about here, but we still need to worry about fuel. These guys are driving like they've got plenty left. Do they or do they not? That's going to be the real question here. We expect these drivers are going to run out after 22 laps, and that's going to be with about 2 laps to go. And there's a contact there. Wow, how did they get away with that one? Did everybody save it? Wow, unbelievable. Connor Leach loses a lot of track position, but everybody keeps it out of the fence. We almost got the caution that everybody needed, but to no avail. But Joe David has taken over the top spot. Anthony Williams now runs second. Anderson back to third. Durkee in fourth. Lawson fifth. Drivers might be prepping for pit stops here sooner than later, but I think they're going to take it until these tanks are on fumes. Five laps to go. Joe David, the race leader. Scott Milner, a lap down in second position in line. Milner, 21st. Doesn't mean his car doesn't draft. He's the first car 1 lap down, too, so if the caution comes out, he's in a great position. Now we got a battle within the battle. You see 11 of Brandon Coleman working to the outside of Scott Milner. This would be a battle for position on the racetrack, not second or third. We're talking 21st and 22nd, and the lucky dog position if the caution comes out. Way up top of the racetrack, Dylan Bryant to the outside of Zach Millett. 3 wide with Millett in the middle and Sisler on the bottom. Pay no mind to that as Bryant gets around a wrong side. The 5 of Anthony Williams. 1 car down out of shape, and we got trouble in turn number 1. Mark Collins, Ben McKinnon, Derek Welch, Tom Barish all in the fence with 4 laps to go. This will send us to overtime, but it gets us into that point where no one's going to run out of fuel. Sacrificial lambs bringing out the caution here, our second only of the day. Let's see exactly what happened here. We started to watch this here. You saw the 32 of Nick Biddy got shuffled to the bottom of the racetrack. Watch the 32 top of your screen. Skylar Harrod's going to give him a bump here, and it's going to cross him up. And then it crosses up everybody else. As Harrod lifts, Leach lifts, McKinnon goes up the racetrack, clips the 23. Barish gets into him, and that sends the 12 down into Derek Welch, and then the wreck is on from there. Big time hit for the 23 of Mark Collins. His night's likely over. Well, timing is everything in this sport. Now the question is, does anybody stay out because of these caution laps? This puts us in an overtime situation. I suppose you could gamble and stay out. I just don't know if you're going to have enough to finish this one off if you stay out. And if the caution comes back out, you're royally screwed. We're going to find out in a minute. Looks like Joe David's going to bring him to pit lane. Milner stays out. He's not a lead lap car, but everybody's going to come down. I don't expect tires for anyone unless you're at the very tail end of the lead lap. Fuel only. Joe David down and away, 5.5 seconds. Albert Anderson down and away, and he's going to win the race off of pit road. Brandon Coleman stays out on the racetrack. Not sure where they're going to place him. He's got the pit still himself. Still think Anderson's going to take over the top spot here. See, Coleman now tucks in behind the 99. Remember, Coleman was a lap down when this caution came out. Really not sure how Coleman got that lap back so quickly to pass the rest of the field. Again, very quick pit stops here as most of them just took fuel only. And actually, it looks like Coleman made his pit stop at lap 65. Took tires and fuel. So this might be the 11's gamble. He stayed on the racetrack because he didn't have to pit. He had a little bit more fuel on board. That might have explained why he was a lap down to begin with. Coleman might be setting himself up for a win here if we get this one done without another caution. That's the other caveat, is we have two other opportunities to finish this race under a green-white checkered if necessary. Now, to explain it to the new folks out there that might be watching the race that don't know how a GWC works, the green-white checkered finish, is when we get a caution late in the race, the caution comes out, well, we don't want it to finish under yellow. That's boring. We can go out to the interstate and watch these guys run at 70 miles an hour. So they add some laps to the race. They add basically a green flag lap. The next flag would be the white flag, and then, of course, the flag after that is the checkered flag. The exception to the rule. If the caution comes out before the leader takes the white, well, caution comes back out, and we line them up and we try it again. We do that up to 3 times total, this being the first attempt. Got 2 more opportunities if necessary after this. But if the leader takes the white and then we have a wreck, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything at that point. They're going to usually race back to the line, but it could just be over. If the yellow actually comes out, that's it. Anderson way down on the racetrack below that yellow line, trying to shorten up the lap. I know he just made a pit stop, but these guys took as little fuel as they absolutely had to get back out there as soon as possible. Now, the other mindset to that is, well, maybe you take a little bit more fuel, because fuel, well, it's got density to it, it's got weight, and it goes in the back of the race car. And what does that mean? Well, the more fuel you put in it, the heavier it is, and the lower that rear spoiler is in the wind. Makes it a little bit faster in the air, less drag. Problem is, you're on pit lane a little bit longer. We got Lisa in the chat again saying, even though Sperling is out, I love to hear the enthusiasm. Well, I appreciate you still being here even though Jesse's gone. It does mean a lot. Obviously, a lot of these people, their families, their friends jump in to watch him race, and the fact that he wasn't able to finish this one out and you're still here, it means a lot to us here at HBR TV, so we certainly do appreciate that. First attempt at a green-white checker about to get underway. Pace car going to make the hard left down pit lane. These pit boards, I tell you.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. Green-white checker. Green flag in the air. Albert Anderson on the gas. Anderson with the lead, but Coleman pushing the 99 with everything he's got, trying to get some distance between himself and Joe David and Zach Millett. Coleman twitchy behind the 99 down the back straightaway. Do we get back to the white flag without a wreck? Top 5 altogether. Millett pulls on a line. Bryant abandons him. Millett to the top side by himself. Dylan Bryant goes 3 wide, but below the yellow line, and he gets spun and turned into Zach Millett. Caution comes out before the leaders can get to the line.
Man, tell me what you got.
Big time no-no. You cannot pass below the yellow line, and that's why. So we're going to try it again. So we'll back this up a little bit further. I'm going to try and get a different camera angle here just because that one's a little foggy, no pun intended. That one's even worse. All right, so here we go. This is out of turn number 4. The 28 of Dylan Bryant goes to the bottom. Joe David there in the middle. David trying to close things off. They don't make any contact, but now you see the 28 is below the yellow line, and he's going to get hooked. Sends Bryant up into the left side door of the 315 of Zach Millett. Millett tries to straighten it out, but it looks like David's going to hit him again, the same spot. You see Anderson and Coleman just tandem there. They're trying just to get back to the white. Look at these drivers going through the infield grass. Groundskeepers are not going to be pleased about this one. Multiple drivers, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars at least involved in this one. Lawson just drives it straight up the racetrack. Almost gets into Nick Biddy there. So, of course, pit stops underway for a lot of drivers, most of those involved in this. Millett, Bryant, Sharon, Roberts, Lawson, David, Durkee, Barish, Beadle. Looks like Beadle's been in here for a little while, about a half an hour actually, so he's out of this one early from his previous wreck. Millett just trying to get some repairs made as well as everybody else. Dylan Bryant gonna throw some tires on. Joe David drops the jack. He's down and away. But don't go anywhere, folks. We still got a thrilling finish to get done here. We got another chance to see one. Sean Roberts driving away from the pit lane. Millett just fires the engine here. He may roll here in a moment. Anticipating we get the 1 to go as we cross the stripe here. So the rules still haven't changed. We're still on a green-white checkered finish, so second opportunity. Again, we could have the same thing happen again, coming to the white. And we'll line them up one more time. I'm glad I explained it to everybody that didn't know. Granted, I think everybody that's watching probably knows, but there's always that chance. There you see it, though. Pace car lights have gone out, so we're on the 1 to go. Next time by should be green flag racing. That'll be in about 2 full minutes. Long lap around here under yellow. 2 minutes and 17 seconds was the last trip around under caution. Takes some time. They're running high 48-second laps under green. Just gives you an idea how fast these cars are turning laps here. So top 10 as we get ready to go back to green. It's Coleman, Anderson, Gones, Williams, Sisler, Leach, Redding, Klein, Herod, and Biddy. That's your top 10. And I got to be honest with you, one of the guys that wins this race could come from outside that top 10, absolutely. Derek Welch, 11th. McKinnon, who's been strong, in 12th. Albert Anderson looking to punch his ticket. Anderson with 2 wins on the season, the first one at Kansas, the next at Michigan. Trying to throw Talladega SuperSpeedway out of the resume as well. Pace car is in.
Green flag.
Some games going on the outside line. Coleman trying to come up to speed. He was real late. Might have missed a shift in the 11. It's going to give the top 3 some breathing room to the outside. 2 laps to go. It's Anderson, Goins, and Sisler, the top 3. Chris Klein jumps up into 4th. 5th now goes to Coleman as he's starting to come back up to speed. Visibility getting poorer and poorer off of turn 2 down the backstretch. You can see them better, of course, as they get closer, but Sisler steps out of line to make a move to the front. Chris Klein goes with him. Sisler alongside Chris Goins. Top 5 under a blanket as they work through turn number 4. Anderson with the lead out of the corner, trying to get it back to the white flag. Into the tri-oval. And there it is. Barney's throwing it. White flag in the air. Final lap from Talladega. Anderson led the lap, but into turn number 1. Chris Goins takes it over on the front bumper of the 93 of Matt Sisler. Sisler going to do everything he can to get around that 41, and we got a big-time wreck in the middle of turn 2. Cars crashing and flipping down into the back straightaway, but we're going to finish this one out. We're going to drive it back to the stripe old school. Goins, Sisler, Klein, Coleman, Herod for the top 5 for now. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. Chris Goins in command. When does Sisler pull out to make the move? Taking a look to the outside. There it is. Sisler around the outside. Goins goes to the bottom of the racetrack, but at the stripe, it's going to be Matt Sisler. Timed the move perfectly. Got to the outside of Chris Goins and takes the checkered flag here at Talladega SuperSpeedway. Goins comes home 2nd. Chris Klein will finish 3rd. What a finish. Beaten and battered cars, still trying to drive it back to finish this one off. Matt Sisler timed that absolutely perfectly. Tandem drafted the 41 to get some separation from everybody else. Pulled out to pass. Goins tried to cover it, but just not enough. He would have wrecked both of them if he pushed any harder than he did. It just wasn't there. Matt Sisler gets around, makes the power move to the outside of Chris Goins, and takes the race win here at Talladega. Sisler very happy, parks it just past start finish. We're going to step out here, get a quick break. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back at Talladega SuperSpeedway, the penultimate race, the Davidson Builders Cup Series, and it was a thrilling one. Very clean race, only a couple of cautions, and a thrilling finish here at the end. Matt Sisler waiting until the very last minute to get around Chris Jones, take that race win away. Let's see if we can get the driver of the number 3 into the broadcast booth. Matt Sisler, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got a copy?
Yes, I do, Steve.
Matt, congratulations. What a finish. What a run to the checkered flag. Second green-white checkered. Tandem drafting the 41 through 3 and 4 and waiting till the very last second to pull out to pass. How did you get that done on the outside?
I need to go back and look to tell you the truth, Steve. I don't even know. I just knew, like, when I got behind him, like, I couldn't make the move too early because... Klein and everybody behind was going to make a run at us because these cars get so slow when you get side by side. I had to wait for the tri-oval, and it was like I knew if I was going to do it, I was going to do kind of what I think it was Harvick did to Burton or Boyer to Burton in the COTs, where he jumped out of line right when you hit the tri-oval. And I, luckily did it. Chris gave me a little bit of room, and I watched it back. I didn't realize I actually completely cleared him. That was, I'm still in a bit of shock.
Well, it was very impressive. You've certainly got some talent on these super speedways. passive aggressiveness, I guess is the way that I would indicate that one, but it paid off here. I don't know if you led any laps prior to that, but you certainly led the one that counted, the final one at the checkered flag, man. I can't even begin to explain how incredible that finish was.
Well, I mean, you and I are both then we're two of a kind, Steve, because I don't know how it was all instinct, and I've won officials in the trucks with a move like that, but like league races have been not kind to me recently on plate tracks, and we started at the back in our 3 birdies Camry, and then we lost the draft, we had to come back, and then we were lucky we didn't get collected in that last big one, and I'll be honest, I was committed to Gones until we got off 4, and then I kind of looked at my mirrors and went, we're alone. I have to try. And the thing was, I had told myself, you don't wreck yourself going for the win. You just need the top 5. Don't be Jimmy Johnson at the Roval. But it's a racer's instinct. You have the run, take it, and amazingly it worked out for us.
It's those times where you have the run where you realize, I got to either give up on it or do something with it. Coming to the stripe, you got to do something with it. You did just that. You end up taking home that checkered flag in a thrilling last lap, last few hundred yards past, man. Congratulations. Who do you want to thank for helping you get to this?
Well, 3 Birdies Golf Company, the awesome sponsor on our car. They do, they got great gear. Of course, the one time I actually win and get to talk to you, my hat's over in the corner, so I can't reach for it. But they do. They got great stuff, and they've been so awesome to come on board and be our sponsor for this '93 team. We got 2 wins for them now, so that's pretty cool. Celsius for the fast energy to get us to the checkered flag today, first, shockingly, at Talladega, and obviously can't forget you, Steve. You do an incredible job with these broadcasts. I can't wait to go back and actually hear it. I had it up, but I had it muted so I wouldn't distract myself. Derek, I believe it's Chris and everybody over at NTRL who do put on this league, because it's been such a blast. And we just entered tonight hoping to make it to the hoping to just point our way to Homestead, and we won our way to Homestead. And to answer your question, Steve, we did not lead anything. I think the highest we ran prior to that was like 5th. And so.
Well, like I said, you led the one that counts, the one that really makes the difference. The last lap, the one where they dropped the checkered flag. You did that. You take the win. You carry that momentum into Homestead, man. Congratulations. Thanks for talking to us, Matt. Good luck next week.
All right, I appreciate it, Steve. You have a good one.
Thanks, man. Matt Sisler, your race winner here from Talladega SuperSpeedway. Next, we're going to pull Chris Gones into the broadcast booth. Unfortunate for him, the runner-up here looked like he had this one in the bag, but that's the difference between Talladega and Daytona. That checkered flag further down the road. Chris Gones, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, Steve. What's going on?
Chris, congratulations, man. I know this is a bitter pill to swallow. A second place, not too shabby, but man, it looked like you had this one in the bag. What happened there out of turn number 4? It seemed like you and Sisler were a ways out from the field, and that's when the run and the move from the 93 happened. What did it look like from your perspective?
Well, yeah, going down the backstretch on the last lap, when he stuck to my bumper all the way down, I knew he was going to make his move out of 4. I was just hoping that I could not necessarily cut it off, but move him in a way that would slow him down enough to where he didn't get as much of a run. I think I was a little successful in that. Obviously, I couldn't stop him. I mean, once he got to the outside, I just shoved him as far up the track as I could, and then once I saw he was completely clear, I shot back down to the bottom to cover off third place. But it was one of those where once he was pushing me, I knew I was a kind of a sitting duck there, and I was just going to try and bob and weave as much as I could to finish where I could. Maybe I could slow him down and take the spot and keep the spot, I guess. But at the end, he made a heck of a move, and he played it right at the end.
Coming to the tri-oval, we saw obviously Matt make that move to the outside. You tried to chase him up there, either to maybe throw a block or maybe pull the side draft, but then maybe an abrupt change of mind there. You drop it hard left down to the bottom of the racetrack. Was that in fear of the pack closing with their momentum, or was it just a matter of maybe I can shortcut this and beat them back?
It was basically trying to salvage second at that point. I knew with the side draft I wasn't going to slow him down with the distance that we had to cover left. I knew I wasn't going to slow him down enough to pull him back. So that was a move to cover off Chris there in third and make him make a move to the outside to try and go around the long way, as they say.
Well, either way, a job well done, Chris. A second place finish. Man, I really thought you were going to take that checkered flag, just not meant to be, but still plenty of momentum rolling into Homestead, Miami for the final next week. How do you feel about your thoughts out at Homestead? I know definitely a different style racetrack than what we have here in Talladega.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny to say after finishing second, but it's actually a style of racetrack that I like compared to this one. I hate super speedway racing, but but Homestead, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I usually have pretty decent pace there. I think we can contend, for that championship there. Just curious to see who it is that we're going to be fighting with, and I look forward to it. Homestead's an awesome track, to finish the season off with. A lot of different grooves and different lines and stuff, and I'm just looking forward to running with these guys, one last time for this season, and seeing if we can, pull it off at the end.
Well, again, Chris, a job well done, man. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Shout out to my guys over at Track Bar Motorsports. We had a pretty solid day, I think, with Jesse in the top 10, and Alfie and Zach had some troubles there, but finishing top 15. I think hopefully all four of us are in the playoffs, but are in the championship race, but we'll see. The guys over at NTRL for putting these leagues on, is just, they do a heck of a job, the admins over there. But over HBR TV, Steve, we appreciate you doing this so we can go back and watch it. But we got Blue Chew on the car this week, Track Bar Media, Eric Dotz at State Farm, Castle Products, Right Turn Wraps. That's pretty much everybody, but I look forward to, hopefully getting them some more recognition next week.
Chris Goins with a second place finish here at Talladega. Thanks for talking to us, Chris. Good luck next week.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good one, buddy.
Chris Goins, second place finisher. Next, we're going to talk to Chris Klein. Chris Klein out of Buford, Georgia, driver the number 51 Snap-on Toyota. We'll pull Chris up into the booth here. Get a word with third place. Chris, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Chris, congratulations, man. A solid run, man. You and Chris Goins both starting from the back and finishing second and third. Walk us through that last lap from your perspective. I know things were kind of chaotic with those top two getting away. What was your mindset when you saw the 93 go to the outside on Chris Goins? Were you thinking you might be able to pick up a win here?
Yeah, I just hung to the bottom. I really hoped that Goins would go up and lay a fender on him or something, and maybe they'd both slow up just enough that I could squeak by on the bottom, but Goins is a little too smart for that. He paid attention and kind of backed away when he realized he got beat to the outside, and came down and made sure he at least held on to second and didn't let me squeak by. So it was fun. I had an opportunity, got to be up there, got to play a little bit. So it was a fun night.
Well, certainly a fun one to watch. A little dull in the middle, but these races tend to be that way, especially without the fast repair. Got to take care of that car. Got to be there at the end. But the last 15, 20 laps, man, absolute bedlam here at Talladega, Alabama. You guys really did put on a show.
Yeah, when we got down to that, I believe it was the first caution, and kind of went back green, and everybody realized that if we saved just a little bit, we could probably make it. It made things a little chaotic. We were all stacking up and taking turns, and some of us saved early, and some of us didn't start saving until probably the middle of the run, and then I think that's what ended up inevitably bringing out that caution there at the end to kind of stack the field up again and let us restack and get fuel for that final run. But yeah, it was chaotic. It was going to be interesting to see who was going to be able to pull off that extra 2 laps that we needed. And I think a couple guys had stopped on one to go and topped off. They had caught on to it before the rest of us did, and so they were probably sitting in a little better position. I feel bad for those guys that had paid more attention and put themselves in a good spot to steal one, and probably came up short. But fun race overall. Got to see a bunch of different strategies play out and change over the course, and that's something that's a little bit different with sim racing, is you're kind of all on your own. You've got to make all the strategy calls while you're paying attention to what's going on the racetrack and trying to hit your marks and not screw anybody else's day up and not run off the track and not hit the wall and choose your tires and choose your fuel and choose this and choose that and do all that while you're, 6 inches off the guy beside you and catching the guy in front of you. But it makes for a fun, exciting race on our side, that's for sure.
Well, speaking of fun and exciting, we wrap up the season. We got one more on the docket next week, Homestead Miami Speedway. That place awful wide. You got top side, middle side, bottom side, lots of options as far as lane choice is concerned. How do you feel about maybe picking up a win next week in South Beach?
Homestead's fun. Just like you said, there's a lot of different options, and depending on how the weather is and how hot the track is and how the car setup is, you have those different lanes to kind of make the track help the car do what you want it to do. If you don't like it super loose, you can generally go run a little bit higher and you get a little more grip, you get a little more banking to help hold the car a little straighter. If you like driving it off the right rear, you can throw it in the bottom lane and drive it off the right rear even more. And then if you're somewhere in between, there's 3 lanes in the middle between the top and bottom, and we'll see a lot of weird lanes and lines that guys run. Some guys will enter really high and run half a corner high and then drop down 2 lanes to get a run off the corner, and so there's a lot of crisscrossing and patterns, and it's fun. It's a fun track. It's a fun track to race at. Tire wear becomes a big issue there. I love the way that Derek sets these races up over at NTRL, with strategy's always a part of it. You've got to learn to take care of your stuff. You can't just get tires every time you stop. You can't. We shorten the fuel tank so that you have to stop and get fuel multiple times. Just different things to make it a little more interesting, so that we don't have to have a 3-hour-long race to see all that stuff, but you still get the experience of it and you get the opportunities that pit stops create and strategies create. Makes it a lot of fun for everybody involved.
Certainly builds the storylines, makes these races entertaining. Even in the dull moments, it gives you something to talk about. So either way, Chris, awesome job here tonight. Lastly, anybody else you want to shout out to?
Yeah, like as always, want to thank everybody over at NTR, from the guys that run it, the admins, all the way down to our competitors. They make NTRL what it is. There's always controversy in racing. Anytime anything's competitive, you get guys that get upset with certain situations, and for the most part, we all work it out and work through it, and everybody gets along, and by the next week, everything's solved and calmed down, and everybody's back on the same page and happy to race again with each other. Enjoy the respect that everyone shows to one another. Want to thank you for all that you do for us. It's a unbelievable. Wow, I'm losing my words. It is an awesome opportunity to have you call our races. It definitely adds to what we're doing. You can put on the greatest shows in the world, but if you don't have somebody out there that's putting it on where it's worth being seen and somebody can sit down and watch it, it makes a big difference. So we thank you for all that you do for us. It's a real pleasure to have you a part of our team. And then thank all the sponsors for all the different drivers that are a part of it, and all the sponsors for our league.
Well, Chris, I got to say, you guys tend to make it pretty easy because you put on some good shows. You definitely make my job easier up here in the booth. So appreciate the kind words there, Chris. Again, congratulations on that 3rd place finish. Wish you the best of luck next week out at Homestead.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good week.
Too. Chris Klein, your 3rd place finisher here from Talladega SuperSpeedway. That's going to wrap up the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Let's take a look at our race results. Of course, the top 3 we spoke to: Matt Sisler, Chris Goins, Chris Klein. 4th place was Skylar Harrod. Brandon Coleman was 5th. Jesse Redding comes home in the 6th position. 7th goes to Connor Leach. 8th finisher was Albert Anderson. Dylan Bryant was 9th. Paul Durkee 10th. 11th went to Justin Lawson. Alfie Charon Jr. 12th. Anthony Williams 13th. Nick Biddy was 14th. Zach Millett came home in 15th. Mark Collins 16th. 17th finisher was Joe David. 18th went to Scott Milner. Sean Roberts was 19th. 20th, Ben McKinnon. 21st, Derek Welch. Russ Endicott 22nd. Tom Barish was 23rd. Eric Beadle came home 24th after his wreck, 34 laps down. Crystal Villano was 25th, and Jesse Sperling rounded out the field with internet issues out of this one after 5 laps, finishes 26th. Got to thank all of you guys for tuning in here tonight. Certainly a fun race to watch, fun race to call. Appreciate Numb Thumbs for putting this thing on and putting on a good show for us each and every week. We do appreciate being a part of that, and certainly more to come in the future. If you haven't already checked us out, youtube.com/@HBRTV1. Hit the like button, the thumbs up, the subscribe, the follow, all the good things. Even turn on the notifications if you click that little bell. That way you don't miss any of the upcoming live streams. Speaking of live streams, we're live again tomorrow night, Wednesday evening, with the Vigilante Racing League for our second race of their broadcast schedule, but their penultimate race in their season as their playoffs continue at Martinsville Speedway. So tune in for that. That should be a good one. And then, of course, a week from tomorrow night, we finish the season off also at Phoenix on Wednesday evenings, also here at HBR TV. With that, again, congratulations to Matt Sisler pulling off a thrilling victory in the latter stages, the last lap of this race here at Talladega. For everybody else here, I'm Steve Singer at HBR TV. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you at the next one.